I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to Bred to Win. As we hit the spring of 2022, we're coming to you from historic Kiora Stud in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales at their stunning new stallion complex, where in coming weeks we'll feature their exciting young sires, Farnan, Prague and Captivant. Coming up this week, we look at one of the shining lights on the Australian breeding scene, Matthew Sandblom's King Star Farm. Not long in operation, but already with a fearsome record of producing good horses and great options for the smaller breeder too. And Kiora stud manager Shane Wright in Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing. That's all coming up, but first, all the latest spring bloodstock information in our Aushorse News of the Week. The stallion parades have been held and the boys are back to work as the beautiful broodmares continue producing the next crop of racing champions. Being here at Kiora Stud, we thought we'd bring you one of their first foals of the modern-day foundation stallions, Prague and Farnan. And this is a delightful filly by Prague, the son of Redout's Choice, from the high-quality triple group race winning Street Cry mare Sabatini. Prague received some fabulous feedback at the hugely successful Kiora Stud late afternoon parade, preceding a great evening of celebration and catch-ups, and he'll feature with barnmates Farnan and Captivant in coming weeks on Bred to Win. Last year's Cox Plate winner State of Rest by Star Spangled Banner has been retired to stud after injury ruled him out of another Australian campaign this spring. The international star, owned in partnership by Newgate Farm, the China Horse Club and other high-profile syndicate members, also won this year's Prince of Wales' stakes at Royal Ascot and will begin his career as a stallion in the new European season at Rathbury Stud in Ireland. For many years, the highest priced yearling sold in Australasia and a subsequent AJC Derby winner and sire, the magnificent Don Eduardo, has died at Gorey Park Stud at Mudgee in New South Wales. With a New Zealand $3.6 million price tag, he was bred and sold by Sir Patrick Hogan from his Cambridge Studs Elite Zabeel Diamond Lover Cross. Don Eduardo was named after and raced to Group 1 success in the 2002 AJC Derby by Gorey's owner, the late Eduardo Kawenko. He spent time at stud in New Zealand and Australia with stakes winners including New Zealand Group 1 winner Booming, along with Older Than Time, Swift Alliance and Divine Rebel. Don Eduardo is buried alongside the huge Gorey-bred stallion influence Northern Meteor.
It's Wallinga Beast from North Star Lasses coming back the inside.
While the weather was again dour at Royal Randwick on Saturday, the racing was red hot, with some stars of the last few seasons mixing it with the up-and-coming brigade. The second leg of the Dali Princess Series, the Group 2 Furious Stakes, went to another daughter of Zoo Star after the success of Zoo Gotcha in the Silver Shadow Stakes. North Star Lass is from the Schnitzel mare Sheila's Star, who's a half-sister to stakes winner Jacqueline Rouge, while Grandam Northeast Sheila won a Blue Diamond Preview and Maribyrnong Trial Stakes. The filly was sold by Rosemont Stud to Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bott and Bruce Slade's Kestrel Thoroughbreds for $260,000 at last year's Magic Millions yearling sale, and races in the syndicate colours of owner Trish Burke. After Saturday's racing, Zoo Star heads the Australian General Sires list in the early weeks of the new season. As you can see in these shots from last weekend during the Widden Stud Parade Days, the son of their late great Northern Meteor returned from the Northern Hemisphere in peak condition and has many promising young horses set to graduate to more stakes success in coming weeks.
Zaki's starting to go through his gears now, the 8-year-old. He put paid in Emily. Ice Bath with a big run late.
The other group races on the day at Randwick went to some popular older thoroughbreds, with 8-year-old Zaki taking his earnings to $7.4 million with his second victory in the Group 2 Tramway Stakes. Currently second favourite for the 2022 Cox Plate behind Animo, Zaki is by Animal Kingdom's blushing groomline sire Leroy Des Animo and was bought at the 2020 Tattersalls Horses in Training sale by Blandford Bloodstock and Annabelle Neesham.
Knight's Order with 150 to go, still a length and a half clear.
The Group 2 Chelmsford Stakes went to So You Think's Sydney and Brisbane Cup winner Knight's Order, who's heading for a Cups campaign in Melbourne. He was also a Tattersalls Horses in Training graduate, bought by Gay Waterhouse and Johnny McKeever for 250,000 guineas. He's now the earner of over $2 million. So You Think was again one of the most popular of the established stallions during the recent stallion parades, with the 10-time Group 1 winner runner-up to I Am Invincible in last season's Australian Sires title.
Eduardo's well clear from Athelry.
9-year-old Eduardo was strong in the tough conditions as he heads towards the Everest, taking out the Group 3 Concord Stakes. The son of Host continues the great influence of former Arrowfield stud Import Hussainee, while his dam Blushing by Fantastic Light hails from a dam line that contains Star Fillies, Avon Angel and Peggy Ann.
Cool and Gutter lets down, takes Zoo Style, but Rothfire's a real threat.
With the Fian Stakes featuring shortly on Bred to Win, the other highlight of the day's racing at Moonee Valley was the return to group success of the much-loved Queenslander Rothfire, taking out the Group 2 McEwen Stakes for trainer Rob Heathcote. It was the first win back from injury for the son of Rothsay and the Hussainee mare Huss on Fire. Rothsay is a Queensland Guineas winning son of Fastnet Rock and stands at Queensland's Lyndhurst stud for a fee just under $5,000. Updating on the next Inglis digital sale, and Inglis has organised an online auction to raise money for injured jockey Alyssa Meredith, with a huge range of exciting items headlined by the framed Godolphin silks worn by James McDonald on Animo in his recent Group 1 Wink Stakes victory, with the silks signed by both J-Mac and trainer James Cummings. Entries for the sale are open until midnight Wednesday, September 7, with the auction to run from September 9 to 14. And G1 Goldmine is offering Bred to Win viewers 20% off their broodmare report for mare owners who are yet to make a decision on a stallion for the season. The report allows you to select your stallion, location and fee range, and the data-rich algorithms analyse all possible stallions. Each hypothetical mating includes a distance profile showing the pedigree's age and distance successes, an impact profile which targets the successes or failures of 20 key crosses within the pedigree, and the stallion match profile, showing how related the hypothetical is to a global list of stakes winners. All this combines to give a G1 Goldmine rating from poor through to outstanding.
But Charlemagne is going well.
An Inglis graduate was fittingly successful in the Inglis ready-to-race plate at Moonee Valley on Saturday, with the catalogue already available for this year's sale at Riverside in Sydney on October 11. Charlemagne is from the Commands mare Our Daisy and is yet another high-class descendant of the great 8 Carat through her daughter Cottahealy House, who is of course the dam of both Commands and Danewin, another success of line breeding to superior broodmare influences. The colt was a $700,000 yearling at last year's Inglis Premier Sale in Melbourne, another sales success for the thriving Yulong Farm at Nagambie and bought by Justin Bayan and trainer Matt Laurie. Charlemagne is the latest promising 3-year-old from the first crop of champion European 2-year-old Shalar, who featured recently on Bred to Win, standing for $33,000 this season at Arrowfield Stud. Coming up on Bred to Win, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week and the rapidly expanding Kingstar Farm with first foals on the ground for Time to Reign.
Mr. Brightside at the 150, ping for home.
The win of the ever-improving and underrated Fian Stakes winner Mr. Brightside features as our Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week as a Kiwi bred, now 4-time stakes winner. Also victorious in this year's Doncaster Mile in Sydney, Mr. Brightside was originally sold by Phoenix Bloodstock at the NZB May sale to Phil Cataldo for $20,000. His sire, Bullbars, is a half-brother to multiple stakes winners Helmet, Epaulet and Pearls and stands for $9,900 at Orange Court Stud in South Australia. His dam, Lila J, is by the late Cambridge Stud stalwart Tavistock, and her sire, Keeper, a Goodwood Handicap winner and successful sire, was featured this week on social media in great health at Cambridge Stud as a retired stallion at the age of 25. Matthew Sandblom has bred and raced one Golden Slipper winner and owned another one, but he's passionate about making the breeding industry accessible to all mare owners. His Kingstar farm near Denman in New South Wales is just welcoming the first foals at the stunning Time to Reign. Unite and Conquer has his first yearlings about to hit the sales ring in 2023, and the bull points keep punching above their weight. Connor, every year we come here to Kingstar Farm and we see, more development and the trees have grown more and it's really taken shape as a real showpiece part of the Australian breeding industry.
It's a great spot here. I mean, we're only 5 minutes out of Denman and Kingstar has come a long way. We've only been going 5 or 6 years. We started off doing a lot of weanling sales and broodmare sales and we've managed to have great success there. We're now doing a lot more yearling sales as well, and we're building a new yearling barn. You might be able to hear the tractors behind us, but there's a new barn, new walker, new round yard. So we've really got some state-of-the-art facilities here, and that services us as a vendor and also us as, obviously, we've got the 4 stallions here as well.
Well, speaking of the stallions, we're focusing today on Time to Reign. I mean, just a beautiful looking stallion, isn't he? And I'm really, really pleased to see, as we expected, the way he's developed, since having his first season at stud. The back end, the lovely strong sort of shoulder. He's just pure masculinity, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and that goes a long way. He's grown, developed, filled out. I mean, you'd expect them to after a bit of time, and he had a year off the track before he came to stud. So he was already sort of maturing, and we could see what was going to be there, but he's developed into a magnificent animal. He is an absolute powerhouse, and luckily to say, I think his foals are the same.
Well, it's sire time for war. Obviously, we didn't see him stand for very long, but he did a good job as a young son of Schnitzel. But that speed, I mean, this is what we're seeing, is the most successful line, really, isn't it? Through Danehill, Reduced Choice, Schnitzel, etc. If you're looking at stallions in Australia.
Oh, it is. And look, we're lucky to tap into it. Time to Reign was obviously a very good 2-year-old from a very good sire line. As you mentioned, Time for War wasn't around for that long, but he certainly proved himself in the time he was with us. But the stallion's female line is also something that we take a lot of notice of, and obviously quite significant being a half to She-Will Reign. It's a very strong line, which that branch of it's gone over to Japan. She-Will Reign's had some great success over there with some beautiful foals and good sales success, and there's a couple running over there in the family that have won recently. So we're lucky to have Time to Reign here because he's got everything the Australians want. 2-year-old speed, precocity, he's big and strong. They are going to be good sales horses, but he's also now got a bit of an international pedigree, which is fantastic.
Time to Reign's going boldly in the lead from Tassort.
And he showed so much ability himself. I mean, he's got that sprinting, that speed in him, doesn't he?
Yeah, and you can't go past natural speed. I mean, sometimes you can get away with a 2-year-old race here or there, but he was up and going early, beating some very good horses, from Bivouac, Yes, Cosmic Force, Dubious, the list goes on. He had very good time form ratings. He won the group races, the Silver Slipper, of course, and was a very good run in what was a bog track in the Golden Slipper, but he was right up there just off them in 5th. So Time to Reign was a genuine 2-year-old, and we're looking at his trials before he came back as a 3-year-old when he beat Very Elegant and a few others. So he looked like he was really going to go on with it as a 3-year-old. I know Gary Portelli was very excited, but unfortunately it's quite often the good ones that injure themselves. He had to retire prematurely, but what was bad luck for Gary was good luck for us.
Explain what you see when you look at Time to Reign, because he just has that bulk, and which we can see is obviously speed, but there's substance too.
Yeah, Time to Reign's got a massive amount of substance. Good bone, it's got size and scope, and he had the natural 2-year-old speed. We all saw that on the racetrack, but he had the development to go on with it. Certainly we didn't see that with the injury, but anyone who sees him in the flesh and live, whether it be when he was a 3-year-old winning those trials, when he was about to come back before injury, or even now in the paddock, he's bigger and stronger than your typical speedy squib, so to speak, and some stallions can be that and they can make their career on it, and sometimes it's a very successful career. Time to Reign has a lot of bulk to him. He's throwing a lot of bone and substance into the first couple of foals we've seen, and I think that will be what carries him through.
You have such a great support with Matthew Sandblom and you know, mares on the farm, and you obviously will support him again heavily this year. It's been very hard for people to actually come and see these stallions, so it's great to showcase him again on Bred to Win, but you know, you're obviously wanting more people to come and actually see him in the flesh.
Well, look, it was difficult during COVID. We retired him that year and obviously people couldn't get here. And we're also a new farm. A lot of people are unaware of where we are. You know, we're only 10 minutes from Coolmore, but if they don't drive past your gate, they don't know. So we're very accessible. We don't generally put on the big song and dance for the parades yet. I'm sure that will happen when one of these stallions kicks. But at the moment, our gate's always open. People can call us, come in, see the boys. You'll get as close to the stallions here as you will at any other farm. And you won't be disappointed because time to range bookings have been strong. Because the people who have come invariably book to him. He's pretty hard to resist when you get up next to him, get your hands on him. You can feel how strong he is, and we'll show you a couple of foals and anything else you want to see, but yeah, we'll give you the full experience.
Speaking of foals, we are seeing here the first time to rein foal here at Kingstar Farm, and this is from Schmidt, this colt. Now, it's his first time out on the grass, so he's not actually been out. He's not really seen anything other than, you know, being in a box and just sort of strengthening up a bit. But it's just gorgeous seeing the natural will and desire to run, isn't it?
They can't help themselves when they're out there for the first time, yeah. So we foal down outside, foal down in the evening, obviously most of them. We get the odd day foaler, but Schmidt foaled down outside and produced the first TTR for us. Last year she had the honour of producing the first Unite and Conquer on the farm. This year the first TTR, so she goes in foal quickly and she's produced two lovely horses with her first two foals. But we move them into a box whilst they foal down outside. We give them a bit of time in the box with mum just to settle down, particularly with a young mare. Now Schmidt's a very good mother. You can see from the footage here, she's nice and relaxed. She's very chilled. This is her first time out of a box for 3 days, so sometimes she can go looking for her mates and run around, but she's nice and relaxed. And the foal, really, their first time out, they're seeing space they haven't seen before. They're feeling the grass, probably only the second time. We had a lot of rain last night, so it's a little bit slippery. So when you tip them out for the first time in that environment, you can get a bit nervous. But this foal's got pretty good coordination. He's athletic. He seems to know where he's putting his feet. So we'll give him a bit of a spin and we'll take him back into the box for a bit of quiet time this afternoon. And he'll come out permanently tomorrow or the next day.
And Alira was saying the floor is like lava, you know, the shadows, they don't know. Just explain, when you're first handling a foal and bringing it out into an open area, they just don't know, you know, what's what. It's quite scary, isn't it? It takes a bit of people management to make sure that foal stays safe.
Yeah, it is. Look, the first time a foal goes out into a new environment, whether it be into a yard, into a large yard, into another mob with other mares and foals, crush, whatever it might be, it can be quite an experience and an ordeal for them. And every foal's different. Some of them take to it and they'll do whatever you want. Some of them cotton on to what you're asking very quickly. Others are quite wary, and some of them, their depth perception might not be what we're experiencing or what the others are, so they'll see shadows and really not want to step over them. They'll be very unsure of their footing going from grass to concrete for the first time or back and forth. Some are very sensitive to sound and hearing. It's a learning process for them, very much so you've just got to have a safe environment. You'll notice meshing on all our fencing here, so if they do make a mistake, they just bounce back. But you've just got to be very careful how you introduce new experiences to even these young foals. And that continues on when we wean, with rugs, bits in the mouth, the whole lot that most people would be familiar with. But you've really got to start that education process from day one or day 3 as we are today, first time out into a yard. It's a safe environment. It's done when it's not slippery, not too wet, and we give the foal a bit of time to adjust and then back into a box for a feed, and it can have a lie down in the safety there.
Looking at the other boys too, of course, Unite and Conquer. With his first yearlings, I mean, again, this is an exciting time to have the yearlings just starting to come through. How's he going, and, you know, what are you seeing in those yearlings?
Exceptionally exciting time. Yeah, we were very, very pleased last year with his first foals. You never want to get too ahead of yourself, but they were exceptional. And they've just continued to grow. They've got good bone, correct legs, low maintenance, and they're well above average size. They are as strong as he is. Anyone who's looked at Unite and Conquer's shot when he was a yearling, he was a first foal, but he was built like a brick outhouse. And no surprise that he was up and going early for Gay, winning the Maribyrnong trial and then the Wild Magic Millions, and he unfortunately broke down in the Magic Millions when he was favourite. But an exceptionally fast, precocious 2-year-old, and that's what we're expecting of his yearlings. So his yearlings have just turned 1. We've done our survey x-rays and we're sweet there. We're very happy with the way they've turned out. So it's onwards and upwards. The yearling sales will give us their opinion and we'll start placing them from the Gold Coast down to Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne. Find the best place for them. We might send a couple over to Perth. And I think they'll find some very, very good homes.
Raging Bull's holding his ground. Now he's lunging the outside.
And Bull Point too. I mean, he's just having a great season again, isn't he? Raging Bull, I guess, being, you know, the main flag bearer of the world's his oyster. He could go on and be really, really smart. But how's it going with him? Because he's such a beautiful horse by Fastnet Rock. He's had some really loyal people breeding to him. But again, as you know, as the years go on, it's hard to get people to come to these stallions. What's your big selling point in trying to get people to send a mare to Bull Point?
So originally we did get decent books and they grew year on year. Second year they almost doubled, third year. Fourth year he covered his biggest book. Now normally you see the stats go the other way for a stallion, so you know they're getting good types when the book grows second, third, fourth season. Now the selling point is his runners. He started this season, I think he's had 6 wins on the board already. We're only 2 weeks into the season and he's only had 13 runners. When you're getting stats like that with horses starting the new season on the front foot, getting in the winner's stall, the ball tends to roll. So we've had quite a few nominations or quite a few inquiries this week. We've had quite a few inquiries for his yearlings for next year. Can I buy them privately out of the paddock? So at the moment, it's his stats. Raging Bull's looking like being a very good horse. And you just need that headline horse for a horse like Bull Point. He's been around for 3 years on the track, but he's only had 68, 69 runners, and I think sometimes that gets lost. Some stallions will have that halfway through their second season. Bull Point only had small crops early on, but they're all running and they're all winning, and that's the biggest selling point you could ever wish for your stallion.
And you can see with the staff here, you know, everyone just seems really proud of Kingstar Farm. I know, you know, obviously Matthew Sandblom and Wendy must really enjoy this being a developing property, as you say, but some wonderful bloodstock on it, and everything year on year. It's a progression. It must be great to be part of.
Kingstar's grown rapidly and we're heading in the right direction. Adam and Alira have developed this property magnificently. Matthew's one of the biggest investors in the industry. He's extremely happy, so I think it's onwards and upwards for Kingstar from here.
You can see the passion amongst the staff at Kingstar Farm. And if you're a mare owner, it's well worth checking out the great value stallions on farm and the pretty special humans as well. Coming up on Bred to Win, Kiora stud manager Shane Wright in Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing.
Growing up in Ireland, I think jumps racing is always a big fascination, and you know, it's seasonal over there, so the jumps racing is very, very big. But growing up, Best Mate was a horse I really followed when I was younger, and remember him in all the Cheltenham races, and he was lots of fun. But I suppose if there was a horse that really made me fall in love with racing, it would be See the Stars. I was quite lucky enough in the Irish National Stud where he was born. We were there at his foaling, and as he was retained, he didn't go through a yearling sale. He was raced by Christopher Choi himself. But we had him to do a mini prep with him, I suppose, and get him ready to go to the trainers. And he was just the most gorgeous horse, both mentally and physically. He had the very best nature. I always laugh when I look back on it, because a big thing is with these young horses, especially in Ireland, when they're in most nights due to the weather, you go and put them in their paddocks in the morning, 4 or 5 in a piece, and you have a look at them and they're all getting around. You're kind of working out who's got the turn of foot and who's got the pace, and you'd walk See the Stars in and he'd put his head down at the gate, start eating grass, and the rest of them would all be going for a hoon, and you go back 5 hours later and See the Stars would probably be about 10 feet away with no grass between him and where you let him off. He was just the most casual, laid-back individual you could imagine, but it just really doesn't puts the proof in paddock form straight out the window. So it does.
What a champion racehorse he was too, and out of the ARC winner Urban Sea, who threw Galileo, you know, breed shaping sort of family here. But it's so great seeing him with Baid, his now 10-time, you know, winner, just unbeaten, and you know, these champion stallions. I mean, you know, now you'll be seeing generations of See the Stars and remembering when you really fell in love with the game.
Oh, it makes you feel very old when you remember Foal being born, and now he's producing champion colts on the track who will then go on to be champion stallions. Watching him the whole way through, you know, the time we had with him, watching him through his races, I've like never felt that engaged in racing, and just you know, the goosebumps you get when you go back and you kind of think, especially Judmont is one that always stands out for me. I remember when the Aidan O'Brien horse went through the gap of his two pacemakers and Mick Kinnan went after him. I don't think I took a breath for about 30 seconds to the finish, but just following him through and now seeing what he's doing on the track, it's a great story to follow, and it was lovely to be a part of it.
Yeah, and now you're a part of it here at Kiora Stud, you know, Ananda Krishnan and these wonderful mares that you have here, and the stallions now too, with Farn and Captivant, and also the gorgeous Prague. It's so exciting, I guess, to be involved now in a new generation of top racetrack performers and see where they can go with their stallion careers.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you walk through the paddocks here and you know, everyone you see, it's a who's who in the broodmare band, so it's quite exciting going through and seeing who they're in foal to. A lot of them are in foal to our own stallions, and you know, Farnan on the track, watching him win his slipper, be a champion 2-year-old, the same as Prague, been such a good 2-year-old and continuing on, and now their first foal's just hitting the ground. It's very exciting, and it's just, you know, looking forward to the future where again you can see them and again feel very old when hopefully their own sons are producing champions down the line.
That's all for this edition of Bred to Win. Don't miss next week's show as we profile 4 magnificent sons of the huge global influence Shamadal, standing at Darley Stud's 2 Australian bases. That and more next week. I'm Caroline CSC. I look forward to seeing you then.